Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new episode of New Frontier. Today, Max is gone because he has been jet setting around to do a lot of conferences, but I am not alone because I have an excellent guest today. I met my guest about 3 years ago, and he absolutely wowed me with one of the presentations he showed at the Billion Dollar Seller Summit. He is a recognized expert and a seven-figure Amazon seller specializing in AI and e-commerce innovation. And indeed, every time I've seen him speak and present, he has really shown some really groundbreaking stuff, really smart strategies. And actually, the first time we met, he did win the Billion Dollar Seller Summit. He has been presenting at loads of amazing conferences, BDSS, Top Dog. He has been sharing some really smart stuff. And the latest, which I also saw this year in Iceland, is his new venture called Spliced.io, which is a platform helping brands connect with affiliates and influencers to drive growth through advanced attribution and outreach with AI. So super, super relevant for this podcast. I am super thrilled to welcome Leo Sgovio. Hi, Leo.
Joe, good morning. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, good, good. Really excited to have you. I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation because, yeah, every time I've seen you present, you come up with some really, really smart stuff, really stuff that I've never seen before from anyone. So I'm really hyped for this episode.
Thank you.
Cool.
I appreciate the intro. And yes, I am a curious guy, and I like to always dive deep under the hood and see what's there. But yeah, happy to share with you what's going on today.
Yeah,
And
all the goodies, all the goodies.
yeah.
Cool. Well, let's start with just I've kind of heard like snippets of your sort of story and journey, but I would be really keen to hear like, how did you get into e-commerce? How did you get to be one of the top presenters at the Billion Dollar Seller Summit? What were the pivotal moments of your journey?
Yeah, it's a long story. Like, all of us, I guess, do have one, right? But to keep it brief, I accidentally ended up in Canada after leaving Italy when I was 23 years old. And at the time, I was just exploring what was next in life. Like in their 20s, you still don't know what you want. And so in Canada, I was lucky to have family members that owned very large travel company, similar to Expedia. And they asked me to pretty much help them do some SEO work. At the time, SEO for Google was simple stuff, meta tags, title tags, meta descriptions. So I was doing that, and the project was supposed to take about 3 months, took me about 3 weeks. So they really liked my work ethic and the speed, and so they pretty much asked me to stay and work for them, which I did for a very long time. I think from 2017 to 2025 or 26. And 2007 to 2015, 16. And I learned a lot working with them. And I was involved in so many different, departments of the marketing team, from SEO to paid search to web analytics. So worked with tools from Adobe. That was really good learning for me because Adobe tools are different than the traditional Google Analytics tool, where you just implement a JavaScript on your landing page and tracks pretty much everything. With Adobe, it's more of a custom solution. So you have to really know what you want to track, events and variables, like all these things. And so that really helped me understand how e-commerce operates. And understand how, when a visitor comes on the landing page, how the personalization works based on what they interact. And so you got to understand, okay, they searched for Cuba, and we should be serving more of Cuba results instead of like everything. And so now you get into personalization and conversion rate optimization, all this stuff. And so later on, when I stumbled upon many codes at the time, Kevin King in Vegas at a conference, I was telling them I was there for an Adobe conference, and they were across the hall in Vegas for Prosper at the time. And so I ran into them. We started talking. I was just listening the night before a podcast with Manny and Casey Goss at the time. It was about black hat stuff, and I was
Oh
super
yeah.
fascinated by that podcast. And so that was really the moment, the pivotal moment that took me from the corporate world into the Amazon space. And
Mm,
so at the time, nobody knew what they were doing. We were all trying. They were all trying things on Amazon, and so coming from the digital space already with that background, it allowed me to easily walk into this industry with a lot of knowledge, and that's what brought me to quick become a speaker at all these events, share
mhm.
was working in the digital marketing industry, and some of the stuff were easily applicable to the Amazon space. So yeah, like the when I won $1 billion Sales Summit, it was, people like to, at the time it was all about hacks and how to get
Yeah.
reviews and how to get rankings, and I had the whole 1 hour presentation like full of hacks, and like now I'm like more, okay, this stuff is shortcuts. I don't like to talk about it anymore. I know how it works. I have a lot of exposure into what happens still in the Amazon industry, but I don't want to, teach that stuff because eventually will get you suspended or something happens, and then I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, I heard it from Leo. You know what I mean?
It's your fault.
Yeah. So happy to talk about it anytime because I'm fascinated by that stuff. But like yesterday, I was very curious. I am just gonna go off track for a second.
Go on.
So my wife works in the travel industry. She's in the yacht space, and in the yacht industry, finding leads is very difficult because you're talking about
Mm,
ultra lux clientele, right? These are the
yeah.
billionaires, not even the millionaires. And so, for the marketing team, generating leads is it's very difficult, right? Because you're gonna know where to find these people when they spend
Yeah.
their time. But somehow there is a hack happening right now on Google, and people are able to generate leads with real people information using AI. And so I don't know how much money this is costing our company, but they don't realize that this is happening until when they call the client, and the client's like, I never has to go on a trip to, I don't know, like
Wow.
South America on a yacht. And so it's crazy. This stuff happens in all kind of different industries. And it's good to know, in my opinion, what
Mm.
happens in order for us to be better business owners.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. I have been thinking because I've been part of the Amazon space for a while, and yeah, I think in it's interesting the journey that sellers are taking now because it has been very much the mentality of hacks and tools and sort of very tactical implementation of like what is this little golden nugget that is going to
Yeah.
give us like one ahead. But I feel like especially in the last couple of years the mentality is really going back to old school marketing, right? So you can see also with some of the presentations that Kevin is doing, which are all about the psychology of purchasing, the psychology of ads, what makes us actually tick and what makes us actually buy as humans. And I think that as this kind of mentality is changing, I feel like now there is a maturation of Amazon sellers, and they're going to definitely focus much more on good old school marketing strategy. Where is your audience? Who is your audience? And actually, like, let's reach them through all of these touch points rather than let's find that like one little tool or that like one little black hat technique that is going to do one on our competitors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And as traffic sources change, we will see that change as well in the way we operate right now and drive our businesses and take opportunities at the same time. Because if you think about it, the reason why Amazon became so popular in our space, like as Amazon sellers, FBA, is because we didn't have to worry about the traffic source. They had the
Yeah.
traffic, right? So yes, they were taking the 15% commission, but all we had to do is put a product on their website, figure out how to rank it, and then get the traffic. But as AI now evolves, as more traffic is coming from these generative AI tools, things will definitely change. So 5 years from now, it could be totally different. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Like working more on a holistic marketing approach is definitely gives you more longevity than not having that strategy in place.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, really interesting. So your journey kind of started in sort of like Google SEO, and a lot of what I've been writing about recently and what I've been tracking is all about how the sort of the search results page, search traffic and SEO is changing as a result of AI, of search GPT, perplexity, and so forth. Like, how do you, like, what are you seeing right now happening in industry, and like how do you see this entire, like, well, this entire channel changing for e-commerce brands?
Yeah, so obviously we all see search results adapting with this new AI feature snippets, AI powered features and snippets. And so the way that on our side, SEO, because I still do SEO for Google, and that has also drastically changed. The way that we create content, the way that we optimize websites has drastically changed. And that's because AI is a very much factual based resource, right? The way that
Mm,
AI gives you answers is based on facts that they've been collecting, building these large language models, right? And Google has been doing the same thing for a very long time. But with Google, we had to go and click on 10, 20 different websites in order for us to summarize that answer. But AI does it for you, right? And so on our end, optimizing for Google right now has become a little bit more, in some ways, easier, in other ways, harder. And but it's working extremely well. Like writing content in a certain way is ranking these websites all the way at the top in this search snippets. So traffic doesn't come anymore from a click on a website, but more from this AI widget that you see at the top when people click on the answer to find out more about it. Um, and so the future is going to look a lot more like that, like all these hyper personalized AI driven search result that is going to push everything down. And so, from an SEO perspective, it's very, very critical to optimize for it. We see
mm,
happening across the space, whether you are an e-commerce platform like Amazon, where Rufus is actually indexing your images and understanding what images are about, or text-based, right? So you're Google, and you need to still extract the text from websites. Um, what's very important is, I'm going a little bit technical here, is that these AI-powered, generative widgets, right? Uh, let's take an example like the Google one that we see, is very expensive to run. Right, the computer resource in the backend is very, very expensive to run, and so for us, it's very important to understand when we write content, also to make it super easy for these generative AI engines to crawl and scrape and understand.
I
There's
see.
this thing known as the cost of retrieval, which is
Mm,
what it costs for a search engine to scrape your website and to understand what is all about. And some people right now, they don't do a good job with it. They write without understanding that, and they sometimes repeat themselves very often, and that is becomes more expensive for ChatGPT or Perplexity or Google to crawl and index. So there are a few things that will have to change with the way that we operate. But if
tell us, don't tease us, tell us what are the things.
yeah, like is the style, is the writing style.
Mhm.
So I'm totally against, for example, writing SEO articles using AI, because it follows the same style. It's good for as a research tool, but in terms of like style, it's not natural, right? It's always following the same style. Yesterday I was reading something about containing some sort of hidden footprints or watermarks. Have you seen this?
Yes, I read about it. So ChatGPT now actually leaves specific symbols. They look exactly like a normal symbol, but they are not. So they are slightly different. And it's actually, I think it was initially designed for so that
Formatting.
student work can be
Hmm.
watermarked.
Yeah,
But yeah, you actually now have to like go and do a bit of manual job to like
yeah.
remove these specific symbols. So yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you're gonna strip it out. You have to clean up that. Like there, sometimes they just look like blank spaces, but they're actually not. If you inspect the source code, you actually see some. They're like HTML characters used for formatting. It's like the emojis. They look like an image, but when you actually inspect the source code on a website, they have some random characters, and if you copy and paste it anywhere on the web, the emoji appears. So they're like that. Like think of it as a transparent emoji that you don't see, but these are watermarks. So I don't know if they're doing it on purpose or not, but if they are, it's a way for search engines like Google to detect AI content. and
Yeah.
and I don't know if people that are leveraging AI right now to create these AI driven content generation tools are aware of it, and they're all doing a good job at extracting or stripping this out. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's good to take it and use it for research purpose, but optimize for it. Like everybody right now is teaching, oh, let's optimize your Amazon listings, like your website for generative AI. Let me show you how to rank number one. It's a good hype, but it's not as
Mm,
I think. It has to be obviously done in a certain way, and you see every day there's always something new that comes out that we learn. But we live in a super fascinating world right now where
yeah.
we can't keep up. It's overwhelming, right?
Oh my God, it is. I mean, like this is the thing. I read literally. I spend at least like half a day a week just reading about this, and I still
Yeah.
feel like I'm falling behind. It's really crazy. But it's also really exciting.
It
Like it's
is,
the
it
future.
is. Like you went viral, I think it was 3 weeks or so ago with some content. Like it's there is a lot of interest around this stuff right now, and so the demand is there. The way to monetize this type of knowledge is there. But it's also there's a lot of people like we know that take advantage of a
Mm,
specific trend, and so it's important, I think, to understand really what's true, what's not, when especially when you're using it to build a business. Like talking about SEO, what we do on with the content, it's something that takes a very long time to put together, like sometimes a couple of months, right, to create 20 different blog posts, 6,000 words each. And so imagine you do that all with AI and you spend a lot of time, and then all of a sudden Google now detects that it's all AI, and let's say your website is de-indexed. Like that would really suck, right?
God,
um,
can you
yeah.
imagine?
It happened to me, but that was totally different because I was having an issue with the server. I migrated this server over to another one, and for some reason, I'm still trying to figure out. My impressions dropped drastically. So anyway, that's totally different topic, but yeah, yeah.
All the trepidations of working in digital marketing. It's
Well,
really
yeah,
crazy. Like we're so obsessed with stats, and actually like it's all very abstract, but like every like you just get obsessed with like traffic stats, subscriber stats, and yeah, it's how we live our lives.
yeah. We love data, right? But it's just an example of how so many things can go wrong in your
Yeah.
entrepreneurial journey. Like every Amazon seller has definitely had more than a, I guess, bad day.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. But we talk a lot about AI, and like one of the really fascinating things you showed in Iceland is all around AI UGC, and I think this is definite trend that is coming out, and I think there is a lot of opportunity for brands. So tell us a little bit about what is happening in the space, like what are you building, and how do you think it's going to affect e-commerce brands?
I think what I'm doing is a little bit different than the traditional way that today AI UGC is being used. Obviously, we see creators that don't even exist. I created one yesterday myself, and it looks amazing. It was still a little bit, I think, far from having an AI created UGC of a person that doesn't exist to be perfect from a lip syncing perspective, all of it. But there are so many different use cases. One that I'm leveraging is to use it for like tutorial videos, create a bunch of like videos like that. So that could be, I'm doing it for my company, like my SaaS company, but they can be used for anything really. Like you have an Amazon business, you want to train or educate your customers on how to use your supplements or your products or your face serums, like anything really. And today you tell me, because you're doing a lot of this stuff with animations, like you can really create so much content around this. And so some of the stuff that I see working well is obviously right now with AI UGC, you can scale to a level that was not possible before. When it comes to creating different variations of ads, right? Whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, but you can do so much more with it. And then do quick A/B testing to see what works best, and then just ramp up the budget for those that work. So that's use case number one. What we do right now that is something very, I think, very new. And I'm doing some pilots too with some of the Amazon sellers that are using Splice. So we are about to release, I think probably next month, our own AI UGC generation tool. So you can clone yourself, or you can create an avatar. But the way we're doing it today, so this was part of my presentation at BDSS, we are leveraging the customers, our own Amazon customers, and we are asking them to submit a video of them using the product or showcasing the product. And when they do that, they win a product, or they win a pair of AirPods. It doesn't matter, whatever you can afford to offer. So instead of asking for reviews, right now we're asking to send us UGC content. Then once we have the piece of content, we can multiply it with AI UGC, right? So we ask them to clone their content, and they get sketched out at the beginning. It's like, oh wait, what are you going to do with my face? But once you do a good job at explaining what you can do with it, and you get them involved into your business, so there are some people that are really like your brand, and those are the right people to have that type of conversation with. So we ask, hey, would you like to be our brand ambassador, or whatever name you want to, fancy name you want to call them. And once you get their yes, they're like, okay, this is what we do. Normally we take your video, we clone it, we create so much content around it, and we pay you for each video that we create, or we can give you affiliate commissions on sales that come from that video. And they're like, oh, wait a second, how does it work? How does this work? So it takes a little bit of time to convince, obviously, the person that that could be a good opportunity for them. But the good thing is that you don't need 50, 100 customers to say yes, because once you have a handful of customers that say yes, now you have thousands of videos. And imagine, like right now, typically you have one brand ambassador, two brand ambassadors on your Instagram or TikTok page promoting your brand. Already having 5, 10 multiplied by, it's a lot more powerful. And so then that's where we have fun. We start having fun creating content, them saying different things, holding the products. Today we can do a good job all with that type of stuff. And then everything is through the platform. So it's a very unconventional way to leverage AI UGC. But for us right now, it's been one of the most powerful things that I believe we were able to get out of it, because it lowers drastically the cost, the customer acquisition cost on the Amazon side, right? If you think about it from an acquisition perspective, customer acquisition perspective, which, let's say you're paying $2 CPC, right? You have 20% conversion rate. Every 5 customers, you get one. Every 5 clicks, you get one customer. So your $10, $15 customer acquisition cost now goes down drastically if you're able to get UGC out of them, and then turn it into ads. So that's what we're using. I think it's a little bit more advanced, but we're using AI UGC for that.
That's super fascinating. And I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of the issue is obviously for a lot of brands, they just don't have enough A content that they can use across platforms. But then also, when you have a lot of content, you don't necessarily always have the opportunity to A B test, to like customize the message. And I think something like AI UGC, where you can, let's say, develop a hypothesis matrix of different messaging, different kind of, I guess, like benefits, use cases, whatever, and test that at scale is super, super valuable. But
Yeah.
I really want to break this down like in a super clear flow. So let's say I'm a brand, let's say I'm selling supplements. Like how do I go about using Splash step by step with, let's say, some of my brand ambassadors or some of my customers?
Yeah. So if you want to use Splice in your brand, there are a few ways for you to integrate it, because it has different tools. It can work as like a regular influencer and affiliate research tool, because we have a database that is probably it's got 30, 40 million influence. I don't know the exact number because every day we add more, but yeah, it's in the 40 millions. That it's obviously like a lot of them were scraped, brought into the platform, and so it's an automated way to do outreach via email instead of DMs, right? So what DMs were kind of capped with Instagram, if you know when we do send DMs for reviews or giveaways, like you have a limit. With email, not really, right? So you can do that, but the most powerful way that we are seeing users right now implementing it in their business is with because we have a very powerful referral program. So the way that Sprice was built is for you to implement strategies like Goalie did, right, where they have a super powerful affiliate program where you can invite somebody to join your program. That can be someone new that you found on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, or your own customers, which you can bring in using inserts. And then once they join, they can refer other people. And then if someone makes a sale, they make a commission on the sale, and then somebody can refer somebody else. So once this network starts growing, you start seeing the real results there. And so some, especially the supplement sellers, they're a little bit more savvy into these things, right? So they're like, this is powerful. I'm gonna spend the next month finding the first 5 or 10, and then they're gonna do the rest. So we're seeing really good results there. And then so you can build these reward programs. So to give you like a step-by-step funnel in a simple simple words, let's say you can either change your inserts and then invite your customers to join your program. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
reward them, and then once they join, you explain obviously how everything works, and you let them understand that they can monetize their content, their network offline as well. Um, Number two, you can start using our own marketplace to find people to promote your product, like we do right now. And so once this engine starts, like gets triggered, you see all these referrals coming in and driving sales, and so you have another like chunk of traffic business coming from this platform. So that's in a nutshell what right now we can do, and everything is tracked. Obviously, we have the Amazon attribution integration.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what we've been able to do, and I think there are probably a couple of platforms that have a really good tracking system, but I think we are the only one that can extend the attribution window indefinitely. So, the Amazon cookie is 7 days. After 7 days, if you don't buy, then the affiliate lost kind of the tracking. We can extend it indefinitely. So even like 7 years from now. So that is obviously really good for the affiliates, not so good for the brands because they
Yeah.
have to pay you even like a while from now. But yeah, that's one thing that is obviously very appealing. Um, and now with the UGCPs, we are closing the loop from a scalability perspective, because obviously once you bring these people in, the goal is to leverage as much as you can from the content that they're
Yeah.
generating so that you can then use ads to drive more traffic. And going back 1 second to one way that we are also thinking of using UGC AI UGC right now, because we're launching a new product probably in the next couple of months. And my partner and I were thinking of doing a Kickstarter campaign to pre-launch it. And instead of doing that, because some people said Kickstarter doesn't work anymore as it used to. So I'm not 100% sure who's still using it as an Amazon seller. But what we're thinking of doing is doing our own pre-launch with Facebook traffic to a landing page. And I've seen a couple of examples working extremely well, but AIUGC in that landing page will be used to create a lot of social proof. So you have a lot of already, creators, influencers saying how great the product is, or that they've already been funding the product, something like that. We're marketing.
Yeah.
We're going to think that way. But that's, I think, one of probably the most powerful ways as well to create social proof for a product pre-launch.
Yeah, no, this actually, like, it makes total sense, like how you completely close the entire, well, reason to believe when it comes to like launching the product. We talked about, you mentioned inserts, and actually um that sort of like wanted me to like ask you about reviews, because we know the classic move about Amazon sellers using inserts to ask for reviews, but obviously a lot has been changing on that ground, and I think it will be a really nice segue to touch upon what has been changed, what has changed in terms of Amazon reviews, and like, are there any strategies that Amazon sellers can use right now to gain more reviews in the, let's say, white hat, or maybe like somewhere in between way. Yeah, what are you seeing in the space?
Yeah, Joe, this is such a right now, especially after the latest changes with buying, is such a sensitive topic because it's harder and harder to get reviews. And Amazon said you cannot even merge anymore, or if you do merge, you're just going to keep the highest number of reviews coming from one of the parents that you are
That makes
merging.
me so sad.
I know. This is was one of the things that I used to teach, right? Like, okay, you have to do it
I
this way.
remember. It's a great
Actually,
hack. I loved it. I remember when I was like, oh, there you go.
yeah,
Amazing.
I think that's probably why I won the BDSS a few years ago, because that was one of the strategies that I thought during that speech. But look, I think from a merging perspective, I understand Amazon saying, you can only keep the highest number of reviews for one of the parents that you're merging. Right? Say you're merging two ASINs, and so one has got 10, one has got 8. You keep 10, the best. Right? They are also saying the best or the highest quality ones, which I'll define them. It's another a topic for another day. I think is based on the buyer profile, history, and all of that stuff. But I think you can still mitigate the risks of which ones they are merged by splitting the merge into multiple ASINs. So that's what we used to do before. Like, I used to send 5 units per ASIN instead of like all of them. Like, you have a limit of 30, right? Instead of sending 30, I used to send 5. And the reason is that if one of the reviews was bad, I will just toss the whole ASIN. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care about the other four being 5 stars, but one of them was one. It's not good enough. I wanted a 5 star. So I think that can still be done. And Amazon today is not saying that merge is against the TOS. Actually, they have no problems with it, right? So instead of sending in 30 reviews each, I will still send fewer units to mitigate the risk of and ending up with an average rating that is lower than optimal. And so that's, I think, one way that we could still leverage the Vine program without while getting some reviews in a white hat
Yeah.
way. People are still using inserts, and I see that a lot because I'm involved in some ways in some of the tech aspects of
Mhm.
how giveaways and refunds are done. And I see still them offering, a rebate or something for reviews. The messages become more clear, less against, the TOS, and so
Mhm.
or ambiguous. And Amazon hates that. Like we see, I think someone posted yesterday. I think it was Chris. He said he has now an SOP on the top reasons why Amazon suspends sellers for review manipulation. But I think he listed the top five on LinkedIn. The rest are in this PDF, and I think they are all obvious to us. Don't ask for reviews. Don't say yes or no, or don't ask them to vote. Do you like this product 3 to 5 stars, and then you change the flow based on
Yeah.
that kind of voting. But look, assuming that we cannot ask for reviews at all, or you can ask for reviews, but you just cannot say go here if you like the product. The best way today, I think, is just offering an excellent, obviously product, but I don't want to sound rhetoric. Like people say this already, but going a little bit beyond
Yeah.
that with the customer service, ensuring that like you go that extra step. Tom Mayer here does a good job, right, explaining what is the 6 star
The
experience.
6 star experience. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like I think following some people have already covered ways to do this the legit way. And I think they've done a good job because we spend a lot of time. Reviews and rankings are the bread and butter of for us, for Amazon sellers, right? So rankings, we know what it takes. For the reviews, I think it comes down to excellent product and excellent, like going a little bit extra step.
Yeah.
Right now we have extra stuff in our products that they don't expect, and so they obviously are happy, surprised.
Delighted. They are delighted.
They're delighted because we follow Tomera. I'm part of Tomera's also a mentorship group, and so we have implemented that into our business. And normally, customers are very happy to receive that extra thing that they did not buy. Um,
Yeah.
and this can be done in so many different ways, even bundling. For example, right now you can do virtual bundles even with products that you do not own, right? So then you fulfill. I remember selling, um, the charcoal powder whitening, teeth
Ah,
whitening
yes, yes, yes.
product,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I used to bundle it with a Crest toothpaste. I did not own Crest, and a Crest on Amazon at the time I think it was $1.50 for me to buy.
Mm,
But bundled it together, people were getting a Crest toothpaste together with the charcoal. They need toothpaste to brush their teeth after they do the charcoal, right?
yeah.
Right. So they did not expect, and then that's how we were getting good reviews. So it comes down to how creative we are as sellers.
But also it comes down to like understanding your customer in the end. Like, it's because there is the element which is you can still send them something and they will still not be happy or be judging you on the quality of the even the free gift. But if you understand, like, with perfect example, the Crest toothpaste, if you really understand what is the need there and who your customer is, then yeah, you absolutely win, because it goes back to that like human psychology element, which is understand what they actually care about and provide that rather than just any random shit. So
Yeah, I totally agree. And also it's important to know that today compared to years ago, I see products taking off with a much lower number of reviews. Like you don't need
mm,
anymore to launch with 100, 200. Sometimes 20, 15, 20 is good enough. PPC, a little bit of SEO, and if the product is good, it will take off. Priced right. So it's not impossible without a huge number of reviews. I
yeah.
actually see the opposite.
Yeah. And quickly, but I would really love on that point to actually talk a little bit about Rufus. So, like, like, what do you think about Rufus? Like, is it here to stay? There is always like the question we ask anyone in the Amazon community, like, what is the future of Rufus? Do you think?
Yeah, I know. Rufus is such a hot topic now.
Mm,
Like I feel every other post on LinkedIn is about Rufus, and everyone is trying to figure out how to optimize for Rufus. In my opinion, like I don't know the numbers, and I don't think Amazon has disclosed the. I would say the use
mm,
of Rufus compared to the current search or traditional search bar. And so once they do, we'll be able to tell or predict approximately maybe how many sales they're getting from Rufus. But it all, I think, comes down to how useful and how Rufus is improving the current customer or buyer experience on Amazon.
yeah.
And so it's not up to us, it's up to Amazon to build a tool or improve a tool that improves the conversion rates on the platform. At the end of the day, they care about selling more, right?
Yeah.
And so we know that Rufus today is indexing pretty much everything: the attributes, the images, they can even read or detect the texture on a fabric, as long as that fabric is is a good quality, or that image is good quality. They can almost tell that that is a carpet with some sort of texture or blue pattern. Like they can be very detailed. So for a customer that is playing with Rufus and looking for a specific product like that, it could be very helpful. But today we just don't know how many customers are actually using it. So how many searches, and we don't have that in Sales Central yet. How many searches have actually are a result from a Rufus search
Yeah.
versus regular search, right? So we can talk about Rufus or everybody can talk about Rufus just because it's a new thing and is getting clicks and comments and shares. That's all good. But before, as sellers, we start investing time into that. Doing it for SEO reasons is a different story. I think they should still do it because semantic is easier. We know that the way people search is different. But in terms of optimizing just for Rufus, like you have to optimize for Rufus, otherwise you're like out of they're gonna be left behind. I think I will think twice about it because I don't know how much traffic is coming from Rufus today to our
Yeah,
listings.
but I think it's again the whole point is to look beyond the idea of the tactic of optimizing for Rufus. It's going back to that what we started the episode with, which is you need to understand what Rufus is the like representing, which is understanding your audience,
Yeah,
being maximum helpful, understanding how they use the product, why they buy it, like, and then optimizing your listing for that. So it's not
yeah,
optimizing for Rufus, you're optimizing for optimal customer experience.
exactly.
And so it's just a change in mindset.
Yeah, exactly. So those that are teaching this concept, they are on the right path, because it's a different use case here. It's not about, hey, you're gonna sell through Rufus now, so forget about keywords. It's not that simple. But if you're saying, okay, you need to see what Rufus knows about your product so that you can improve your indexability, your overall score, because AI is here to stay and search, generative search will eventually replace traditional search. Okay, these are all good concepts, and I'm all for being proactive from this
Yeah.
perspective. So I love where this is going, and I think the real time personalization, that's really what's going to make a big difference. And I think that's where Rufus right now is there as a small widget to just collect all the data and then
Yeah.
eventually like become a bigger part of the search engine.
100%. And this is actually a perfect way to end this episode, which has been so interesting. And we would love to have you again because I feel like we can talk for everything AI related and Amazon related for hours. But if people would like to get in touch with you, what is the best way to get in touch with you, Leo?
Joe, LinkedIn is a good platform. I check my LinkedIn profile and messages regularly. Definitely connect with me on LinkedIn if you like to chat, stay connected, see what I share. But also, if you're interested in more the influencer marketing stuff, then feel free to send me an email at leo@splice.io. Check out splice.io. Happy to see if it's something that can help your business. And yeah, I'm around. I always attend a few conferences a year. So if you are one of those, happy to meet you in person.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being our guest, Leo. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next time I hear you speak. So,
Thanks, Joe.
and thanks so much for everyone that tuned in, listened to us. Tune in next week again. We're going to have another awesome guest. And for today, goodbye.